Welcome to another exciting episode of the Million Dollar Peddlers. I'm Paper Guy.
And I'm Mr. Magazine.
And I was thinking about your business, Mr. Magazine, versus my business. Anybody out there that's unaware, Mr. Magazine has oodles and oodles of employees, and I'm a one-man band. And he has people listing for him left and right, and I'm a one-man band. What this means, though, in practice, is that I can be better at listing than your people can be.
Sure.
And I was looking at it that I can take a deep dive into items, and your people are more what I would consider to be hired guns, where they're coming in and you, especially a couple of the people, where you give them a pile of stuff to list, and it could be games, it could be toys, it could be Hot Wheels, it could be magazines, it could be newspapers, it could be any one of 40 different things. And there's a learning curve on listing things that you're not used to listing. Mm-hmm. For instance, what category do you list it in?
True.
They may not know the best category to list.
Yeah.
They may not know because it's the first time they've touched this type of item before, or they very rarely do.
Right.
They may not know all of the things to look for, all of the things that are important to collectors, all of the things that are important to note. Mm-hmm. The advantage you have, of course, is having oodles and oodles of listers, is you can get lots of items up in the amount of time it takes me to get, I can get very few items up versus you can get a lot up. Right. So I wanted your opinion on listers versus a deep dive listing type deal and the advantages and disadvantages.
I mean, with the 15 employees or close to that at this point, I mean, we can't have too many deep dives unless it's something that's worthy of a deep dive. Say if we came across a 1,700 Bible or something and it's $1,000, well, take 20 minutes to list it. I have no problem. Do some research, take a bunch of pictures, whatever. But say you got 12 Hot Wheels and it's only a $15 lot. Well, don't take forever listing that lot. So you got to be efficient, and you got to go with, I try to use the auction professor's idea of $400 an hour they should be listing. So I go to maybe 500 because I got more employees than them and so forth. So they should be listing 25 items an hour that are worth $20 or more, something like that along those lines. So if they're doing that, they're doing their job for the most part. But don't get caught up in lots unless it's worthy of being a lot, or don't research something too long if it's a $10 item. So I try and teach them that type of stuff. We got a few veterans there that know what they're doing that can help each other out, but that's what we're doing right now.
Well, and I guess even something that came to my mind when you were talking there is about the Hot Wheels lot. If you were a Hot Wheels dealer, mm-hmm. you don't even need to do any research on the Hot Wheels because you look at them, much as you look at a magazine,
right. Yeah.
They look at them and go, $5, $5, $5, $20, $5, $5,
right.
$40. Okay. Yeah. Or they look and they go, okay, I haven't seen this before, but I've seen this series before. Okay, I kind of have an idea. And even doing the research on it,
yeah.
You put a Hot Wheels in front of me, I could research it, but I'm not going to do a good job, and it's going to take me a long time to do it.
Right.
You put a 1700s Bible in front of me, I already know the websites to go to, I already know that kind of deal. I can get that researched and up faster than your people can, but I'll get a Hot Wheels lot up a lot slower than your people can, or I just do a really cruddy listing where I sit there and I take 4 pictures of it and just list all 12 names of the cars, and that's the end of it.
I try to verbally prep it for them by saying hey, there's 12 of them here. I'm happy with $4 a piece. Throw them up for $50 because I figure it's worth between 30 and 70. So if I can get caught, if it sells for anything in that price range, I'm happy. Or it could be really good. If it's crap, they'll make an offer and we'll accept it instead of having him research those cars. But there'll be times where we'll get a good collection, say red lines, 30 red lines. I'll tell them it's worth terapeaking these, because they're going to be $20 to $200. So it's worth it. If it takes you, you can only do 15 an hour instead of 25, I'm fine because you're going to be getting 30, 40, $50 a car. But there's times where this is one example where my employee meant well, but cost me a lot of money. I lost money in it. But we had some sets of Indian cards or something newer, and they were in binders. It must have been some mail away where you get so many, they add on to your collection, and say the 2 binders were 500 cards. Well, those 2 partial sets, they were missing cards, and it took him over an hour to go through them and combine them to one set and stuff. And at the end of the day, it was still incomplete. It was probably only worth $20. I said it was nice for you to take it upon yourself in attempt to list this. However, it's not your cup of tea. I would have known that, hey, this was in a box. You should not have listed it. It's not worth it. We're better off throwing it out.
Wow.
Now you spent, an hour and a half on something worth $15 that may never sell because it's not even complete. So that does happen sometimes. So I try to catch those lots before it happens, and not a perfect
See,
world.
and that's the kind of thing that I don't know exactly what kind of cards they were, but if it's something other that I collect, I would use my own time sorting it out because I would get enjoyment out of doing that.
Yeah, it was newer. It was some publication. I think they made magazines with cards or something, and the binders, had pictures of the cards on them and stuff, but it just wasn't worth it.
Right, and that's where being a collector sometimes, you get the pleasure and enjoyment out of it. And you're like, oh, I got 12 doubles. Let me sell these 12 doubles. And guess what? You just spent an hour sorting everything and upgrading everything in your collection.
Yep.
And you sell those 12 cards for $12. Yep. You actually lost money.
Oh, yeah.
But you were a collector. Yeah. You had the enjoyment out of it. And same thing if you ever get into your Star Wars collection and Batman collection, that stuff, and start sorting out the comics, you're going to lose money.
Right.
But the other side of it,
it's
you
fun.
have enjoyment.
And it's got to be done. It's got to be done at some point because who knows, kind of duplicates pile up for decades. So.
Yeah. So that's another part of it, and that's another advantage that a collector would have over a business, because a collector gets the enjoyment out of it, and that sells the doubles off as well.
Sure.
But even with the Hot Wheels, and I don't know much about them other than I do know at times different spokes have different values, and I know that I think Malaysia versus where the car is made
metal bottom, plastic bottom, all that stuff.
Yeah, but a good Hot Wheel dealer knows all that right off the bat. Right. Or if he doesn't know it all off the bat, knows enough that I'm going to start all these at $10. I'm going to mention where it's made at. I'm going to mention the bottom. I'm going to mention the spokes, and I'm going to mention, and he'll know the 4 or 5 most important things and mention all of them immediately, because. Whereas your people and me might not necessarily know that, and we might be leaving money on the table and then answering questions later, or having to take lots and lots of pictures, where this guy might be able to take 1 or 2 pictures and just say, hey, it's made in Malaysia, it's this, it's that. Right. So being a hired gun, you can definitely get a lot of different things up. You get exposure to a lot of different things. However, being able to do a deep dive on things helps as well, because, again, I can list better into the areas that I'm listing. But you may not be set up properly to have enough of the same type deal regularly to have a deep dive person into any specific thing. So hopefully it helps you a little bit. I just wanted to highlight a little bit of difference there between the different kinds of listings available. And hopefully it helps you a little bit, and hit the like button.
Take care. Bye-bye.